Alright guys, so today we're going to be checking out something by SCP Illustrated. And what a video it is, because this is a video that you guys have requested multiple times. It has 29 votes on the server right now. The only thing that actually has more votes than it is something that I'm going to be checking out with a group of other people that we're trying to just set up a time to do that. And that would be on the Scarlet King. This, however, is SCP Illustrated SCP Mobile Task Forces video. Now, the Mobile Task Forces I've heard a lot about. Some of them are very specialized, some of them are not. But the task forces themselves are something I've been waiting to learn a little bit about. When I first started getting into SCP, I saw a couple of videos on that, but I don't think we've seen something deliberately dedicated to the Mobile Task Forces themselves as units. So this is going to be really educational. It's by SCP Illustrated, so I know it's going to be good. I know I'm going to learn a lot. So the one bad thing about SCP videos, especially when it's something like this, they're going to be talking about specific SCPs that I don't have any knowledge of. And that's both a good thing and a bad thing, because one, it expands my knowledge, but two, it leaves me with more questions than I actually can find answers for in a quick amount of time. But that's the great thing about these as well, because there's so much to learn, there's so much to do, there's so much to cover. Yeah, I really can't wait I can't wait for like 6 months from now when I know so much more. And then even then, I know barely the surface level. This was requested by Halvershin 1.0. And, yeah, I'm done talking. Let's get into it. SCP Illustrated, the SCP Mobile Task Force. Guys, if you're a fan of anything SCP related, check out his channel if you haven't already, and pop a subscribe on him, because one, he deserves it, and two, check out his merch, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to be getting something from him pretty soon. I just need to find out if everything's good to go on it. Secondly, well, finally, let's go.
Good day everyone, and welcome back to SCP Illustrated, entry log 91. A lot of you have been asking me to do a video on the MTF teams, and today is that day.
Alright.
Now, I would be surprised if any SCP fans watching this don't have an idea of what the MTF teams are, but for those of you who don't, there is a whole intro sequence to get you up to speed. Without further ado, let's begin.
Let's go.
The following data release has been authorised by the following council members and administration staff.
Sorry guys, I am trying to get over like a bunch of
Mobile
allergies
task
and a cold.
forces are elite units comprised of personnel drawn from across the Foundation and are mobilised to deal with specific threats or situations that sometimes exceed the operational capacity or expertise of regular field personnel and, as their name suggests, may be relocated between facilities or locations as they are needed. Mobile task force personnel represent the best of the Foundation.
Lovely.
Mobile task forces vary greatly in size, composition, and purpose. A battalion-strength combat-orientated task force trained to deal with highly aggressive anomalous entities may consist of hundreds of troops, plus support personnel, vehicles, and equipment, and can be deployed in whole or in part to deal with threats across the globe. However, a mobile task force can also be a small specialised intelligence gathering or investigative task force that may have fewer than a dozen personnel if that is deemed sufficient to accomplish their goals. While in the field, task force members often pose as emergency responders, local or federal law enforcement, or military personnel appropriate to the region in which they are operating. Mobile task force commanders can also request the assistance of local field units or personnel stationed at nearby Foundation facilities in order to accomplish their missions. Each unit is fundamentally structured in a way that best suits their intended purpose. While combat-orientated task force may closely follow military hierarchy and organisation, smaller units may have an informal or otherwise esoteric chain of command. As such, the responsibilities of the Mobile Task Force commander for each particular task force can vary greatly. The commander for a large task force might focus on maintaining multiple teams and deploying them as necessary to each assigned operation. whereas the commander of a small team might deploy with their team and direct the operation from on location.
Okay.
Similarly, the cohesion of each unit will vary as well. Some mobile task forces consist of personnel who have trained and worked for many years or even decades together, whereas the personnel of a mobile task force formed on a moment's notice to deal with a specific incident may know little more than each other's names and field of expertise.
You see, this makes sense, and this just really sheds light a little bit more into the workings of how the SCP Foundation actually works. This makes a lot of sense to me. I didn't really understand how the organization went, but this is so far he's telling me that they don't have any centralized organization. They're purpose built for what they're going after.
Mobile task forces are typically commissioned as deemed necessary by the Foundation's Director of Task Forces, often with the direct approval of one or more O5 Council members.
Okay.
A significant number of mobile task forces are created to deal with specific anomalies exhibiting traits that standard containment or response teams are unable to effectively counteract, though many were also created to preempt an emerging or theoretical threat.
Okay.
Mobile task forces created for the purpose of containing a particular anomaly are typically deactivated at the end of the recovery operation or when ongoing containment is deemed no longer necessary. Occasionally, such task forces remain operational if the expertise and experiences learned are considered useful for future incidents, but otherwise, the task force will likely be disbanded and its personnel returned to their prior posts. Very rarely, a mobile task force will also be disbanded if it suffers sufficient casualties to render it incapable of operation. In these cases, if the prior capability of that particular task force is deemed necessary, a new task force may be commissioned to replace it. The Mobile Task Forces. MTF Alpha 1, Red Right Hand.
I like that.
Mobile Task Force Alpha 1 is a task force that reports directly to the O5 Council and is used in situations that require the strictest operational security. The task force consists of the Foundation's best and most loyal operatives. Further information regarding MTF Alpha 1 is classified Level 5. MTF Alpha 4, Pony Express.
Okay, so Alpha 1, pretty much, it responds to just the heaviest of stuff that is extremely secret. Like, even secret by SCP standards. Lovely.
It's primarily of personnel trained to act as undercover employees
Infiltration.
and specialise in tracking, intercepting, and securing anomalous objects sent through postal and package delivery services worldwide.
So this is why my Amazon shipments are getting delayed.
MTF Alpha 9, Last Hope. The Reborn Omega 7. A mobile task force explicitly intended to train and utilise humanoid SCP objects in the field.
What?
MTF Beta 4,
Now I need to know what Omega 7 is.
Castaways. MTF Beta 4 is a task force created with the sole purpose of assisting and monitoring Group of Interest 466, Wilson's Wildlife Solutions, in their interactions with local fauna-based anomalies.
No idea.
MTF Beta 7, Maz Hatters. Mobile Task Force Beta 7 specialises in the acquisition and containment of anomalies exhibiting extreme biological, chemical, or radiological hazards, as well as the rapid containment and cleanup of areas affected by such anomalies. This includes the planning and deployment of contingencies for wide area or pandemic spread of anomalous disease agents or other contagious phenomena.
I'm pretty sure I've seen these guys
MTF
before.
Gamma 5, Red Herrings. Mobile Task Force Gamma 5 specialises in preventing the dissemination of knowledge of anomalous events or phenomena in cases where initial suppression effects have proven ineffective or insufficient, or in cases where such knowledge has already reached critical levels of public exposure. This includes the research and deployment of experimental amnestics, as well as memory fabrication procedures.
I'm loving how these are written. Look, you can see down the action reports that they're a list of stories. I want to read these stories now, especially about this one. This one seems very interesting to me. These guys are basically called in when the normal all I can think of as an analogy right now is the guy in Chernobyl who sits there, runs in and says, I saw graphite on the ground. You didn't see graphite.
MTF Gamma 6 Deep Feeders. Mobile Task Force Gamma 6 specializes in the investigation and tracking of deep sea or oceanic anomalies.
Lovely.
MTF Gamma 13 Asimov's Lawbringers. Mobile Task Force Gamma 13 specializes in the investigation, tracking and apprehension of anomalous objects, persons and entities associated with Group of Interest 1115 Anderson Robotics. This includes identification of Anderson customers, location of Anderson products, and conduction of raids on Anderson offices.
Okay, I just got to stop this for a second. It's just like the more he goes on, the more I'm just sitting here going, every single one of these would have like excellent. It would like TV series. These could be movies based around these mobile task forces and what they actually do. Why are a bunch of people like this? Is the thing that drives me crazy about modern day cinema and TV, is that most of it is terrible. But then you have a bunch of people. Then you have people that sit there and just, know what would be cool, and then they come up with stuff like this. Like, seriously, if I won $1 billion tomorrow, the first thing I'd do is make a movie about Hell's Reach and the Warhammer 40k universe. The second thing I'd do is I'd probably get a couple of the people that make these lore videos, like SCP Illustrated, of course. I'd get the Volgan. I'd get a couple of other people, and just come up with a script for something. Like, just let's go. Let's do this. In any case, shutting up and moving on.
MTF Delta 5.
Heard of them.
Frontrunners. Mobile Task Force
I know
Delta
one of
5
them.
is comprised of multiple autonomous deep cover cells specializing in the identification and preemptive acquisition of anomalous objects and entities of interest to other groups of interest.
So they would be the ones that go out and they would try to intercept the Serpent's Hand, Marshall Carter in Dark, things like that.
MTF Epsilon 6 Village Idiots.
I want to be in that.
MTF Epsilon 6 specializes in the investigation, containment, and subsequent cleanup of anomalies in rural and suburban environments.
Never mind.
MTF Epsilon 9 Fire Eaters. MTF Epsilon 9 specializes in the use of incendiary weapons and operations in high temperature environments.
I know some of you want to be in that.
MTF Epsilon 11 Nine-Tailed Fox. Mobile Task Force Epsilon 11 handles internal security for the SCP Foundation under oversight by MTF Alpha 1.
Huh.
They are a Special Ops force deployed to Foundation sites when standard protocols fail and multiple breaches are imminent. As such, most of their operations are classified. MTF Zeta 9 Mole Rats.
Heard of them.
Mobile Task Force Zeta 9 specializes in the investigation, exploration, and containment of underground or enclosed areas exhibiting anomalous phenomena, particularly those with inconsistent topography or unstable spacetime.
I got a feeling that these guys would be the ones sent to the national park that you guys had me take a look at. These guys would be the ones sent there.
MTF Eta 10 See No Evil. Mobile Task Force Eta 10 specializes in the investigation, acquisition, and initial containment of objects or entities exhibiting visual cognitohazards, visual mimetic agents, or otherwise require indirect or alternate observation in order to safely handle.
Like the Shy Guy?
MTF Eta 11 Savage Beasts. Mobile Task Force Eta 11 specializes in the investigation, acquisition, and containment of auditory and musical anomalies, including any auditory cognitohazards or sound-based anomalous threats.
No, I don't want either one of
MTF
those
Theta
last
4 Gardeners. Mobile Task Force Theta 4 specializes in the acquisition and containment of plant or plant-like anomalous objects and entities, especially fieldwork involving widespread infestations of such anomalies.
Don't want to be with that either.
MTF Theta 90 Angle Grinders. Mobile Task Force Theta 90 deals with anomalous topologies, geometries, and similar mathematical problem areas.
I really don't want to be in that one.
MTF IOTA 10. Damn feds. Mobile Task Force IOTA 10 maintains undercover operatives in various international, federal, and provisional law enforcement agencies, and specialises in facilitating the transfer of anomalous evidence and objects into Foundation control, as well as the transfer of jurisdiction over anomalous event locations from local law enforcement to Foundation containment and response teams.
You see, I was wondering how that went. I was wondering how that was actually done, because there's been many times where, like, it's like, how did the SCP Foundation find out about this before it became national news? These guys.
MTF Kappa 10. Skynet. Mobile Task Force Kappa 10 is a temporary designation until such time it is either officially dissolved or sanctioned. It is strictly tasked in investigating and engaging cyber anomalies using a combination of virtual agents and Foundation researchers to track, neutralize, and/or contain such intangible threats.
Okay.
MTF Lambda 4. Birdwatchers. Mobile Task Force Lambda 4 specializes in the investigation, tracking, and containment of airborne biological anomalies, especially anomalous avian organisms. MTF Lambda 5. White Rabbits. Mobile Task Force Lambda 5 specializes in traversing unstable, surreal, and controlled reality, and containing potentially dangerous persons and artifacts capable of manipulating space and time.
Okay, that one in particular, hell no. I don't want to be anywhere near that.
MTF Lambda 12. Pest Control. MTF Lambda 12 specializes in tracking, containing, and exterminating anomalous vermin, often used as a first response team when tracking anomalous organisms. To this day, MTF Lambda 12 have never lost an agent on any of their missions.
Okay, guys, you wind up in the SCP universe. This is the one that you want to be in. This MTF right here.
MTF Lambda 14. 1-star reviewers. MTF Lambda 14 is
I don't know why that got to me, but it did.
a task force that specializes in dealing with retail-orientated locations and anomalies, be they singular restaurants or entire shopping districts displaying anomalies. Since their initial investigation of the Ambrose restaurant, MTF Lambda 14 has been assigned to work to combat this group.
There you go.
MTF MU3. Highest bidders. Mobile Task Force MU3 is dedicated to monitoring Group of Interest Marshall, Carter and Dark Limited. Through the combined efforts of undercover agents and covert ops specialists, their objective is identifying objects of interest in possession of Marshall, Carter and Dark, isolating opportunities to recover these objects, and ultimately achieving their containment.
See, I thought this would have been the other one, but apparently they have a whole thing all to themselves. Makes sense.
MTF MU4. Debuggers. Mobile Task Force MU4 specializes in the identification, tracking, retrieval, and containment of electronic devices and transmissions, especially anomalous computers and network-related anomalies. This includes the investigation of internet sites suspected of anomalous capabilities or involved in anomalous events.
Okay.
MTF MU13. Ghostbusters. Mobile Task Force MU13 specializes in the tracking, analysis, and containment of incorporeal or intangible manifestations and entities, particularly those believed to be sentient, sapient, or otherwise intelligent and adaptive.
Nice.
MTF NU7. Hammer Down. Mobile Task Force NU7 is a battalion-strength force consisting of 3 company-sized elements of Special Operations Infantry Forces, a light armoured vehicle company, tank platoon, helicopter squadron, chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear platoon, combat engineer platoon, nuclear weapons specialist squad, plus additional combat specialists and support personnel. Mobile Task Force NU7 is based primarily out of Armed Biocontainment Area 14 and is tasked with responding to incidents involving loss of communication with major Foundation facilities under circumstances wherein a site-wide breach, enemy compromise, or other similarly catastrophic event is suspected.
So when they show up, they roll in deep. They roll in really deep on this one.
MTF Omicron Rho. The Dream Team.
Lovely.
The Foundation has discovered the method of becoming honorary, and now with this power are more capable of containing them. For decades, they teach their agents the technique that allows one consciousness to join another's. The few mentally hardened individuals that succeed are organised into a task force. The first of these was Mobile Task Force Omicron Rho.
Okay.
MTF Pi 1, City Slickers. Mobile Task Force Pi 1 specialises in the investigation, containment and subsequent cleanup of anomalies in densely populated urban environments, particularly in the New York metropolitan area.
Lovely.
MTF Rho 1, The Professors. Mobile Task Force Rho 1 specialises in the acquisition, containment and transport of anomalies related to Group of Interest Alpha 388. With the reduction of the threat posed by the specific group of interest, the MTF has expanded its focus to any and all containment for anomalous academic endeavours. MTF Rho 9, Technical Support. Mobile Task Force Rho 9 handles computer security for the Foundation. When mimetic kill agents can lurk throughout the data structure, this is no simple task.
This is true.
MTF Rho 19, Cytherians. Mobile Task Force Rho 19 has been sent to Venus in the hopes to establish a Foundation presence where there may be considerable anomalous activity.
How in the hell did they even manage that? And when in the hell did they even manage that?
MTF Sigma 3, Bibliographers. Mobile Task Force Sigma 3 is charged with exploring, understanding, and eventually containing the vast otherworldly location of the Wanderer's Library.
Okay. Don't know about
MTF
that.
Sigma 66, 16 tons. Mobile Task Force Sigma 66 is formed of captured members from other groups of interest. Despite the lack of loyalty the Foundation expects from the assembled team, they find the members' expertise of value.
Okay.
MTF Tau 5, Samsara. Immortal cyborg clones created from the flesh of a dead god. Tau 5 utilises esoteric and experimental Foundation weaponry to investigate and contain thaumaturgic, magical, and psionic threats.
I have definitely heard about these guys before. And not just because I hate the Tau from 40k. It's because I've heard of Tau 5. Weren't they they had something to do with the factory? I'm probably wrong on
MTF PSI
that.
7, Home Improvement.
Lovely.
Mobile Task Force PSI 7 specialises in the undercover investigation, containment, and or demolition of anomalous buildings or buildings affected by anomalies, particularly residential homes in populated areas. This includes the acquisition or transfer of affected buildings to Foundation control, as well as initial observation and documentation of such buildings prior to transfer to local containment teams for long-term or ongoing containment. MTF PSI 8, The Silencers. Mobile Task Force PSI 8 specialises in the investigation, tracking, containment, and or destruction of individuals suspected to be capable of or having been affected by reanimation anomalies, as well as investigating suspected cases of communication with deceased individuals.
Lovely.
This includes the severing of devices intended to allow communications with individuals buried alive, such as bells, pipes, and phones, as well as detainment and interrogation of individuals claiming to have had contact with deceased individuals.
Lovely.
MTF Omega 0. The Saints of MTF Omega 0 are informational constructs with the memories of deceased Foundation personnel able to manifest through access of the Foundation's intranet terminals.
Okay.
Using identity warfare training, they protect their living comrades against informational threats and entities. The existence of MTF Omega 0 is unknown to most or all of the living members of the Foundation.
Huh. Okay.
MTF Omega 7, Pandora's Box. Mobile Task Force Omega 7 has been disbanded and decommissioned. This entry is to be deleted by order of the Records and Informational Security Administration. Previously, Mobile Task Force Omega 7 was an experimental task force specialising in the acquisition and containment of anomalies utilising cooperative anomalous humanoid entities, particularly SCP-076 and SCP-105.
Oh no.
MTF Omega 12, Achilles Heel. a task force composed of reality-bending SCP personnel from an alternate universe. Omega-12 is tasked with capturing SCP-3480-2 instances guarding the many entities imprisoned in Area 13 and hunting down powerful uncontained reality benders elsewhere. MTF Stigma-9 evolved from naturally occurring gears, levers, and pulleys. Historically, the Church of the Broken God has always prided itself on its artificiality, that its faith is proven with tangible artifacts and physical devices of miracles. So when the time came to destabilize the Church, the Foundation put forth a team of forgers, and Stigma-9 was it.
Why would the... So, why would the Foundation be going after the Church of the Broken God? To me, it doesn't make any sense. Somebody please explain down in the comments.
Additional MTFs.
Okay.
MTF Epsilon 7, Forget-Me-Nots. Undercover task force tasked with disrupting the research and development of amnestic drugs.
Good.
MTF Eta 4, Begone Forth.
Really? Really?
Unit of SCP-3095-1 consisting of pelicans and seagulls charged with protecting normalcy after the BE class migration end of consciousness scenario.
What?
MTF Eta 5, Jaeger bombers.
Those are my guys.
Mobile Task Force Eta 5 is a rapid response unit specializing in the tracking, capturing and containment of large-scale aggressors, entities over 30 meters in height. Deploys from and detains large-scale aggressors within Dimensional Site 172.
Lovely.
MTF Beta 5, the bigger boat. Specialized in anomalies involving or threatening marine vehicles.
Nice.
Mobile Task Force Upsilon 4, Sugar Pill. Originally formed in order to contain SCP-2559, Mobile Task Force Upsilon 4 is tasked with epidemiological containment, especially with the containment of memetic outbreaks.
Okay.
MTF PHI-2, Clever Girls. Task Force specialized in study, tracking, capture, and hunting of prehistoric anomalies, especially dinosaurs.
Really? We had to go there. We had
And
to.
that concludes the MTF teams. I hope you've enjoyed it. Be sure to like and subscribe if you did. Next time will be the infamous SCP-2399, a mouth.
Okay. Did I learn a good deal? Yes, I did. Will I have to watch this video about 6 or 7 times? Of course I will. Those last 3 were impressive. The names of them, I loved them. Okay, so when it comes to an MTF, the great thing about it is if you write an SCP, you can also write a custom MTF for it. And the thing about it is it can be like as small as 4 people apparently. This was a video that I needed because I knew a slight amount about, like, I didn't know Tau 5 were cyborgs. I didn't know that at all. So that is kind of cool. It's kind of cool to learn this kind of, like, these things. It's kind of interesting to learn because I've seen MTFs in action before, whether it be the video of the Shy Guy, the live action things that I've seen. I can't believe I can't remember what it was. It got me into this entire thing. In any case, SCP Illustrated once again did a fantastic job of putting all this together. So you guys should definitely go over there if you haven't already. Check out some more of his stuff. I'm going to be putting the links to his channel down in the description below, as well as the links to his merch store because he does have merch, guys, and his Patreon. All that will be in the description down below, as next to my own. And I have my own Patreon down there if you guys would like to support the channel, and a Discord so you can come in and throw rocks at me and recommend more videos for me to watch. In any case, guys, thank you for joining me, and we learned a little bit about mobile task forces, and this is kind of like why I want to start making lore videos on this, primarily because when you're just listening and stuff like that, you don't you learn, of course, but I've always found the fun in researching a topic. And I might just start doing that, and I have been talking about it for about a month and a half now, but I might just start getting around to it because I want to learn more. In any case, I'll catch you guys next time.